Welcome back. Episode 2. This one is another story. I can't use the fact that I was 17 as my defense for my silliness. This happened 10 years ago and is a story that I'm not proud of in terms of my ignorance or how I am, but I'm not going to lie either. I think one of the best characteristics you can have as a person is the ability to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with who you are and how and how you were thinking and whatever, and the fact that you've learned from it and you've hopefully become a better person. So 10 years ago, I was sitting in church and the pastor brings out two Christian missions, a husband and missionaries, a husband and a wife, and they are dressed in the garb. I can't think of a better word for it. Of the place they were missionaries in, and after they're introduced, I lean over to Rhonda and I say to her, I whisper to her, I say, I am going to get nothing out of this. That's a terrible thing to say. It's a terrible attitude to have, but I'm just being honest. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That's what I thought. That's what I said, and I am not proud of it, but I'm not always a good person. And so I knew what was going to happen in my head. I was like, they're going to talk to us a little bit about where they are and what they do, and then they're going to tell us how important it is for us to give money. And you shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't be like that. But again, I'm just being honest. That's what I thought. And when they hadn't even started talking yet, and I'm thinking this. And they do a little bit at the beginning before they speak in the dialect that they would use where they were working. And then the husband says, your passion is reflected in your sacrifice. Your passion is reflected in your sacrifice. And immediately, I felt as though someone had hit me between the eyes with a 2x4, because that is one of the best quotes that I have ever heard, and is the basis of everything that I try to be for the people that I help, whether they're students, players, or whatever. That's the basis of what my parents taught me while I was growing up. Your passion is reflected in your sacrifice. If you say you are passionate about something and you are not willing to sacrifice for it, then you are not passionate about it. You do not care that much about it. It does not matter that much to you. I watched my dad be on the fire department in Table Grove, Illinois, my entire life. As a kid, he was on the fire department and eventually was the fire chief. And when he got off of the fire department, he was the fire chief. I watched him be on multiple different church boards and things like that, where he went to meetings and made sacrifices and tried to be a leader and be passionate about his faith and sacrifice for it. I watched my dad also. I forgot this. He's on the school board from the time I was in the 6th or 7th grade until I graduated from high school. That's a sacrifice. I watched my mother continuously in the church do things that she sacrificed for others because she was passionate about being that person and helping other people out. Your passion is reflected in your sacrifice. And like I said, I sat there and it was almost a grin or a smile on my face, like, you dummy. You judged this situation, and now here you are sitting there hearing someone talk about something you've tried to do your entire life, as well, adult life. Your passion is reflected in your sacrifice. I can't tell a bunch of high school kids who play basketball for me, boys, girls, whatever. I can't tell them that they need to care about getting better and care about being the best player they can be and work really hard and be committed, and tell them that they got to sacrifice to do that, and then I don't do it myself. You say you care about those players, you say you care about those kids, and then you don't sacrifice any of your own time for them. They see right through that. That's why I love kids. That's why I love teenagers, because they see through it. They absolutely know that you're not passionate about it. They know. I've said many times, I have people, you were my favorite teacher. You were a great teacher. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I never was a great teacher. But I was passionate about my kids, and they knew it. And because of it, that's why I was able to get out of them what I was able to get out of them. And the best teachers I ever had, the great coach that I had, he was the same way. They were examples to me of how you were supposed to be. Their passion was reflected in their sacrifice. I've worked with other coaches. A very good friend of mine showed me over and over again, has shown me over and over again how much he cares about his players, because of his sacrifice and how he sacrifices. I remember a time, it was at the end of the school year one year, and if you know anything about the school year, high school baseball ends at the end of the school year, roughly. Middle school baseball doesn't start until August. It was the last day of school. It was a half day. Kids came and got their report cards and left. Teachers were allowed to leave as soon as the kids were gone. And my friend, who was the high school boys baseball coach, stayed after school on a day when everybody else couldn't have gotten out of there fast enough. Stayed and worked on the baseball diamond. A baseball diamond that wasn't going to get touched again for 2 months. Stayed and worked on it. And it was a hot day. And Gage and Cole and I got in my vehicle and headed over to my mom and dad's to mow. My dad's health wasn't good at the time. And we head over to where I grew up so that we can help them with yard work or whatever. And my friend was working on that baseball diamond. It's an hour to my home. We were over there for at least 2 hours. It's an hour back. We get back to Mason City and he's still working on that baseball diamond in the heat. And again, it wasn't going to be used for 2 months. Now, a contrarian would say, well, he's just trying to make sure it's ready so he doesn't have more work to do later. Okay, fine. That could be done at any time. Not on the last day of school when everybody else could leave and you could leave and you didn't. Your passion is reflected in your sacrifice. What are you willing to do to get what you want? I have a senior in high school who's about halfway through his senior year, a little over a quarter of the way through, or right around a quarter of the way through his high school boys basketball season. He's with me every day, 6th hour. We talk all the time about I tell him all the time, don't tell me what you want. Show me. Don't say you care about this and that and then not be willing to do what it takes to make that happen. And that's that quote. That's what that quote is. You can't say you care about something and then not sacrifice for it. And unfortunately, there's many times in my coaching and teaching career, I've seen parents that aren't willing to do that for their kid. They say they love their kid, and they do. They do. But Are you willing to sacrifice for them? How many kids have I seen that wanted to play a sport or wanted to be a cheerleader or wanted to be involved in something extra, but that was going to cut into their time, that was going to cut into somebody else's time? I coach kids right now. I coach kids in the fall who their parents, middle school kids, who they've got multiple kids going multiple directions. And one night dad's got to go one way and mom's got to go another. Or grandma and grandpa got to go. Or they're doing all kinds of different things. Your passion is reflected in your sacrifice. And I mean, my marriage, your passion is reflected in your sacrifice. You say you love this person, you got to do extra. You got to do more. That's how a good relationship works. We sacrifice for one another. And I'll never forget that day sitting there in church, focused on what I thought I wasn't going to get. And then I got a quote that is, like I said, the basis of everything I've tried to be. So if you're listening to this, I hope it gives you something. I hope I hope that you already do this, and all it is affirmation. In those moments when you're frustrated, you're like, I'm sacrificing so much for this. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? Why am I spending so much extra time on this? Or why am I spending time away from my kids or my husband or my wife or my whatever for this? It's because you're passionate and you know that your sacrifice is helping someone else out. And in the end, I don't know if there's anything better than that. I hope this message hit you. I hope this one hit you the right way. I hope you, and if you aren't doing what I said, I hope you consider it. Because I promise you, from my own experience, you're not going to regret it. You're not going to regret it. Thank you again for anyone that reached out, to everyone that reached out after the first one. So many nice things. I appreciate all of them. I truly do. And it means a lot. It means more than you know. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you have going on. Those of you who know me, I've been going through a bunch of back stuff lately. It's been not good. Every day, I get up, I go to work. Somebody asks me, life is good, because it is. Take care. Talk to you soon.